Welcome to the ShiestyShow. I'm your host, Matt, back with another episode. I believe this is episode 21, man. We steadily grinding. Coming from episode 1 to episode 21. It's been, a good 3-4 months. I've been doing this, sticking to it, trying to do my thing and get my podcast going, man. And I appreciate everybody that does take the time and listen. I know I've been out for a couple weeks, but regardless of what I do, podcasting is what I love to do, and I'm going to do it all the time. So whenever I find time to, you know how the real world problems are, but whenever I find time to, I will definitely step in here and let you know how I feel on some things out there in the world, So welcome to the Shiesty Show, where we talk about everything with everyday people. It could be anything, politics, music. Mostly this is a hip-hop and sports show, but we do it all here. So I'm just glad y'all could listen and tune in for this week's show. We got some stuff lined up for you, so let's get right into it, man. Let's not even waste any time. The Denver Nuggets, first time in 47 years, I believe, something like that, 47 years. Man, I remember watching the Nuggets when they had Carmelo, Nay. They called him Nay. The center. They had Kenyon Martin, Allen Iverson. Man, they had a J.R. Smith. They had a squad, man, and they could just never get past the Lakers. And Kobe Bean Bryant was always there to shut the door on that. But they had some great teams with Coach George Karl there in Denver. That was a very great team and a solid team for them, and they finally pulled one out. Even now with the team they had, man, solid team. Murray was going crazy. I definitely watched him when he was torching my Lakers. He definitely caught fire and was in that zone in some of those games against the Lakers, and you could just see it, man. They weren't gonna be denied, and no one was gonna stop them, especially with Jokic. That's the one thing I did learn about Denver. I knew who the guy was because his name's been in the MVP conversation the last couple years, but I never really watched him play because, Denver's not a team I sit there and watch the whole season. But when I actually seen him line up against the Lakers and what he can do other than scoring, he's not just a big man who's going to look to score. His passes were crisp and sharp, very precise, and he's a good passer. And I think it's part of that comes from that European type of style of playing out there and getting his skills early at an early age, man. And you saw it, man. But also still plays probably the only one that still has a good post game for a big man, because a lot of these big mans nowadays like to just shoot jumpers and stand by the 3-point line, which I don't get. If you're 7'2", bigger than everybody, you should be in the post. But that's just the way the game's going nowadays. But he can still play with his back to the basket and dominate that way. So shout out to Denver, first championship. You always want to see a team that probably never won one. It's cool to see that, man, and let those fans that probably been watching them all their life finally get a chance to celebrate and and let loose, man. So congratulations to the Denver Nuggets, the new 2023 NBA champions. What a great run, man. They definitely had some tough series and pulled it out. So shout out to them for that. Jokic, finals MVP. No one better deserving than that. And I think Denver will be here for a while, man. I think it's their time now. They built through the draft. They didn't just get free agents to come in. They got Aaron Gordon, players like that, but They definitely built their team through the draft, and they're young, so they'll be around for a long time. And at the end of the day, I didn't really watch the finals. I think this was probably one of the most boring finals, if you really want to be honest about it. But it is what it is. Those are the teams that made it. Congratulations to Denver on that one, man. So next thing I want to talk about, let's talk about some hip-hop news. One thing I've been wanting to touch on is this whole Rick Ross and Gunplay situation with the GoFundMe and the whole thing with DJ Envy and all that. I've been meaning to talk about this. So let me say this. First and foremost, I think it was just jokes in the beginning, and it snowballed into something that didn't need to happen. In all honesty, this started over a car show. That's the only thing that is kind of ridiculous about this whole situation. Millionaires fighting about a car show. But at the end of the day, I always just looked at Rick Ross a certain way, just from the way he came out in hip hop was that he was hustling every day, selling cocaine, the cocaine man, and tell stories of that. But then you find out he was a correctional officer. When he was beefing with 50 Cent, he brought that to the light and had that out there and exposed that on him. But then not only that, then you come to find out later on that Rick Ross was an actual person that was a big time drug dealer in the 80s and early 90s in Los Angeles. Freeway Rick Ross, and if you don't know who that is, look him up, and really find out the story of that. He goes against him and wins, and is able to use the Rick Ross name and give no credit to him, and he has never done that. Give the real Rick Ross credit, because then it shows that this guy is a phony. So you have that situation, and then I come to find out on the news that he was underpaying his Wingstop employees lower than what the federal minimum wage is. Got young people in here trying to make a living, and this guy talks about being a boss and having the most money and living large and being a kingpin, but he can't even pay his workers the minimum wage. I don't know what type of boss that is. To me, that's a slumlord. That ain't no boss. But there's that situation. That kind of gets swept under the rug, and nobody really talks about that. And then you come back, and you had a situation here with Gunplay. Now his boy's out there looking wild because his boy had a GoFundMe for his daughter's operation, which was a little foul that DJ Envy touched on that, but I think it was more a shot at Ross, saying you're a boss and you're the kingpin, but your boy over here is starting to GoFundMe to help his daughter's operation, and that got all mixed up, right? So this gets all mixed up. Then Gunplay records DJ Envy's conversation about them being cool, and the whole situation about he's saying he'll slap DJ Envy and all that, but then you find out the call was longer, and these guys actually had a cool conversation from what Charlemagne is saying. So you have that, right? And then it comes back right after. They have Gunplay on video giving Rick Ross $100,000, $200,000 chain. Let's start my line. $100,000, $200,000 chain. And you just told these people that you needed money for your daughter's operation. So I know that looks away to people, which it should. You're giving from the kindness of your heart. These people that work 9 to 5s and slave their life away. And these celebrities love to clown and talk about your average Joe and I'll never work a job. But these are the guys that actually pay these people's bills. And you go and give your boy a $200,000 chain. But see, this is where it even gets more slimy here with Rick Ross. I don't think Gunplay had the money to get that chain. I think Rick Ross told him, I don't want people to think that you're broke hanging with me. MMG music, right? Maybach music. So I'm going to give you this chain, and you're going to gift it to me. I'm going to lay in this bed and pretend I'm asleep. And you come in and you give this to me, man, and everything going to rock. Everything going to be good. Everything going to be good. That's Ross for you right there, right? And now he got his boy out here looking crazy because now he's getting pissed because people want their money back and they want the refund from GoFundMe after they seen you just gift the man a $200,000 chain. Most people don't make $200,000 in 5 to 10 years of their job life, and you're over here, okay, maybe not that long. That's a little bit exaggerated. But let's say 5 years to build that up. And you don't give somebody a chain like that. Got his boy out here looking crazy. But this is just layers, and you just pull the layers and layers back, and you really find out who a person is. If you really pay attention, you'll find out, who people are, and when things are up, how they are, and when things are down, how they are. And I never really was a big fan of Ross music, anyways. And it's no hate. It's no hate from me. I just actions are showing, brother. You're just not who you say you are. But no hard feelings there. But I just wanted to touch on that and get into that. And I know DJ Envy ain't the cleanest guy either. I know he just got popped for scamming with his little fat big pun guy that he's always with, Caesar. So I know he's just getting popped for that too. I know more of that situation will come to light in the future. But as far as this situation goes, and not only that, I think it went and it escalated once Rick Ross started to bring in DJ Envy's wife, DJ Envy's kids, talking about, you're gonna come clean my pool. Now you're just taking beef. You're taking beef somewhere else, man. It's somewhere it doesn't need to be, because that's the type of beef where people start showing up at your house, and things go awry. So we ain't trying to promote that, but these are just layers and layers you peel back of a person, and this is what I've seen from Rick Ross. The real Rick Ross is not a rapper. But we'll move on, man. So anyways, let's get back on some other shit here. We got Gunna with his new song, Butter Rolls. Butter roll. Straight off the glass. It's a butter roll. But Gunna with a new song, man, and it's hot. It's hot, man. I really think that no matter what you do on behind closed doors, and it seems like in music and in sports and these big industries, if your talent outweighs the consequences while you're young, because it's only when you're young and they can use you like this. But when you have the talent and it outweighs the consequences, people are willing to brush aside and sweep under the rug a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, sports. We'll talk Terrell Owens. There's these guys that when they were in the prime of their careers, and the shenanigans they pulled, a lot of people put up AB. A lot of people put up with it because of the talent. Now, when that talent starts to fade, and that person starts to exit out the prime, that's when you see him get traded. So you see him get sent home. So when you see him get traded again. See him get traded again. AB runs off the field. After Tom Brady got him everywhere he went. This is what happens. In sports and in music and everything, when the talent outweighs the consequences, a lot of stuff is going to be brushed under the rug. And that's the sad thing, man. I watched that R. Kelly doc too. And R. Kelly is definitely a sicko. Definitely, by all means, with your underage women. But in some of those situations, parents knew or had some type of knowledge. My daughter's at the studio every night. They have a bed in the studio. I don't see her for 3-4 days. What could be happening? People's bills probably getting paid. Definitely, excuse me. Definitely. So that's the sucky part, man. But it is true. It's true, and when the talent's there, a lot of shit will get brushed under the rug. And I've heard the same thing with the Jared guy. Guy making millions of dollars doing commercials for Subway. This guy's been this way for how long? And Subway has no idea. I don't think so. So that's just my thing, man. And with this whole to bring it back around, to this whole Gunna situation. When the talent outweighs the consequences, it's fire. T.O. was still fire, still putting up touchdowns. Went to Dallas, started talking shit more. You know what I mean? And when you in that prime, you ride the wave, man. And Gunna's in his prime. He's a very talented cat. I definitely like the song. Regardless of what you say, if he ratted, he didn't rat, he's talent, who's talent. The song was good, man. And I give that to Gunna on that one. Another song I like, since we're here and we talking hip hop, I definitely like the Drake song from the 21 Savage album. Jamboree, I think it's called. Something like that. But that's definitely one of the better Drake verses I've heard in a long time, man. And hold on, let me get some water here. I'm not the biggest Drake fan anymore. I definitely think Drake's best album was Take Care. Nothing was the same as Right Under It. And then I would have if you're reading this, it's too late. Right under that. But Take Care, definitely the best era of Drake for me. You know, that was in my prime years. I was in high school, and it brings back a lot of memories when you listen to those Marvin's Room and Over My Dead Body and a lot of those songs, man. So brings back a lot of memories when you listen to those. But Take Care, definitely would say it's his better album. This album I didn't really run to. I'm not the guy that follows the hype train. I like for shit to die down a little bit, like the whole Game of Thrones, Sons of Anarchy, all these shows I don't really run to. I come and watch them later, kind of when everything's died down and digest it that way, so it's not talked about all day around me. Because I know how some of these people get with these shows. It's just the only one I am like that for right now is probably Bel Air, but that's probably it when it comes to TV shows. But back to what I'm saying, man. I just think this Drake verse right here was one of the better ones, and I didn't run to this album, so I didn't hear it right away. But this is definitely a top Drake verse and a good song, man. I've been having it on repeat. I'm the type to like a song and play it over and over and over, man. I play it over and over and over till I'm tired of hearing it. And then that's kind of how I digest the song and move on to something else. But most of the time, I'm playing the song out, man. If I like it, I'm playing it out. So, shout out to Drake for that one, man. And boxing news. This is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been saying from the get-go. Once Danny Garcia, once Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia made that mega fight happen, it opened the flood doors for everything else. You know why? Because now they see how much money it brings to fight the top guy. It's easy to, Canelo and a few people can sell out stadiums fighting a nobody. But you can't continue on that path if you're not those guys. If you ain't a Mayweather or Canelo, maybe even a Fury, there's not really much room you can move. You can only move so much. Tank I think started to feel that a little bit, and Ryan as well. And you know, they made it happen. And once that happened, and they brought in as many pay-per-views as they did, I know they did record numbers. From what I heard last, they did record numbers for that fight. So now you got these other guys that see that, like Crawford and Spence, and they want in now. And that's what should be happening. The best should be fighting the best and nothing less. You know, that's what it is. This is what boxing fans want to see. We pay hard-earned money to see these guys fight, and we deserve that. And we're finally getting the fights that we want to see. I guarantee with this Crawford and Spence fight that it's going to bring in so much money that these guys are going to fight again. There's a rematch clause in that. So whoever wins, they're definitely fighting again. So, you know, you could count that in the book. But not only that, that's going to bring in more money. But now these other guys like Tank, like Pitbull Cruz, like the Charlo brothers, those guys are all going to have to start picking top guys off, because that's what fans are gonna expect now, and that's gonna bring in the most money. And it's a good thing for boxing. At the end of the day, that's a great thing for boxing. I'm so excited that this fight is finally happened, and the undercard actually has my boy Pitbull Cruz